yeah, we won game 4 and 5.
Hey.
But yeah.
Before game 4 and 5, though, during this issue, there was a crazy game 2 on the comeback. We're going to see Native White versus Native Red going on. But can you walk me through that comeback a little bit? What happened? I mean, you were basically in the thick of it at the end of that thing. How did you make that that comeback a reality at the end?
So pretty much we went 3 down, and it was 48-43. We just watched it back on the VOD just now, so I pretty much remember what happened. And I was last guy live. They were winning 48-43, and they were like collapsing on me tower, and I just found like an opening to live. I went like dummy door to key door, slid bottom mid to key door, and then lived my life. And then they kind of like their play was literally to kill me. They were chasing me pretty hard, and we ended up getting like a couple more kills just from them chasing me. Brought it back to like 48-46, and then Sweaty got the overshield. I think he got like 1 kill and then made 2 one-shots. And then I pretty much got my shield screens, chowed the 2 one-shots that chowed me key door. I got one of them, kept them 1 one-shot, and then lethal killed the other one. And then I was actually down a shot on, I think it was Chick A plat, and I was like, you know, bottom screens, and I just reversaled him for the last kill, 49-49, so it was pretty sick.
Reversal too.
Oh
See,
yeah.
It wasn't on your POV. That's what the shame was.
I wish it was, dude, because he got reversaled pretty bad.
Yeah, you see, that's what we need. We need to have those screen records of everything, so you guys can like actually watch some of this stuff back at the end. You know,
that's what you call a piv.
That's what the piv is. Exactly right. And you know, winning that big one, pushing you guys to game 5, you eventually get the job done here. I wanted to maybe, you know, take your eyes off your own stuff for a little bit. I want to talk about these 2 teams for a second right here, because obviously a lot of controversy going around. I want to get what your thoughts on the Native White. I mean, you see the coach in there, Trey. I
mean, he's doing his thing. He has 4 kills. He's top fragging on his team right now. That's, you know, pretty sick. But
what do you think? If you had to have the coach step in, like, what do you think about that situation? Would you rather go with the coach into pool play, or would you rather go into open with a player that you can pick?
It just depends the options you have, like to pick up a player and go through pool play. I don't know like who they asked, but you know, if they could have got like a high caliber player, which is going to be pretty hard because everyone's competing in this event already. But like, I don't know, if they could have brought someone back like Snipe Down or like Devin or like Ola or just, yeah, I mean Hoog or Shotzi, but I don't know if they would be interested. But if they could have got someone, then I understand, but it looks like they couldn't find anyone, so just playing with their coach, and I think they're just banking on, who's in their pool? The Bittersweet. They're banking on beating Bittersweet and getting at least top 12 for the points, so I don't really blame them for that decision at all.
Yeah, so well, thanks, Boo Boo. We'll get out of your way, and we'll get some casters in for this match. Congratulations.
All right, thank you
on that sweep, and have a good one.
Later, chat.
Flag captured.
All right, everybody, Magikowski back on the cast, and as you can tell, we're diving into game 1 of what could be an intense series had not an unfortunate situation happened to Native White, which now Native Red looks like they are capitalizing on. As Mikwen, though, some signs of life with the use of that sniper, the experience is showing.
Native Red versus Native White, the turf war we've all been waiting for ever since these 2 teams formed. 2 caps early on for Native Red, but Mikwen and the rest of Native White showing a little bit of fight back in the enemy base, looking to propel some momentum to get that first pull of the game. They've not yet been able to even get into the base of Native Red.
No, we left off our cast with that Native Red Bittersweet matchup, and that game 3 was the CTF Aquarius. Ended up as a 3-1 win for Native Red, and this has all the makings of a very similar scoreline. Native Red have control, but Native White are staying in the fight.
Mikwen looking to stay alive down that long haul side. Grenades tinking out. Doesn't have a drop ball, but he does have a repulsor to use here. Expect to see that in the gunfight? Potentially no, but it's going to be all BR shots instead, as Mikwen individually with the killing spree, +5 in this match at 9-4. Single-handedly trying to bring his team back in this, but no, he goes down at the long haul. SoulSnipe now has that drop wall to his advantage instead.
Man, I hope Mikwen was going to give us a McPancake right there with that repulsor. It was so close, but instead taken down. And sometimes it's just losing that 1v1 that can have pivotal consequences as rockets are spawning up. Tapping buttons, rotates through, scoops them up, quick fires, one finds the target, and then burns some of the overshield, but not even all of it, even with a rocket.
That's so interesting in the conversation for do we want rockets, do we want overshield? Well, there you see the team that gets rockets actually almost at a disadvantage because the overshield sponged all of that damage because of it. Boam and the rest of Native Red are in this Native White base once again. Boam looking for a pull, but first, I love this, playing his process. Knows that he needs a couple more slays, a little bit more damage before pulling that next flag. Boam is playing patient, perfect Halo right now.
Yeah, patient, perfect, most kills on the team, least death, something you gotta shout out once again from the substitute at Dallas, now leading the team on the side of Native Red. And we hinted at Native Red have the advantage in this series. Now it's the 4 seed for Native Red, 5 seed for Native White, but with Barcode not being able to make it here, Trey comes in as the coach, filling in as the substitute, a familiar position that, you know, Native Red might have some sympathy because they've been here before, but they're not going to take it easy on the little brother.
Trey filling in pretty well for Native White, but it's Native Red looking to fill the scoreboard with that third potential game-winning score as we see it go in. Game over. GG's G1, game one, I should say. Native Red beats Native White. I think that's what we've expected. We didn't really get a chance to break things down before the series started, so let's kind of rewind things a little bit, set the table a little bit. I know people have already started picking the mac and cheese and, you know, finger dishes off the table, eat a little bit, but that's fine. We're going to reset the table.
Mac and cheese
Native
is not
White.
an appetizer. Hold on.
I mean, it depends.
Fried
Mac and cheese by itself is, but if you had bacon, you had some, you know, you had something else, it turns into a meal. But anyways, Native White coming into this tournament, Magic, they pick up Kuhlect, one of the rising, I don't even say rising, he's a young superstar in this league.
Yes.
I was so excited because when you make team changes, you can't just go horizontal. You got to go up or down, right? And I think this was a great team change for Native White because you look at Gilkey, the Halo 3 veteran pro. He's been playing forever. A little bit more slow, methodical pace, whereas Kuhlect, he's going to hit the G-slides like a Karmea, just flying through the map, really forcing that presence and pressure. And I'm excited to see that come through for Native White this weekend, but we got to talk about, like you mentioned towards the end of that game, unfortunately for Native White, just as Native Red for their first 2 lands of the year, Native White now catches that curse, and Barcode not able to make it into the country because of that. The coach, Trey, filling in as a substitute. I just got off the phone with Callus before this series. He's their coach now.
Oh,
he took a flight.
He
took a flight from Vegas 3 hours ago. It's about 2.5 hour flight. So this dude literally, emergency coach, got hit up by somebody in the community, somebody at Native Gaming said, we got you on a plane ticket, just get your ass down to Texas. And Callus, the grinder, the gamer he is, he said, sign me up, coach. I am in the game. So huge respect to Trey for filling in as the substitute force, and a huge shout out to Callus for flying in on a red eye this morning to make it to Dallas, Arlington, I should say, excuse me, in time for this tournament. Nothing but respect for Native White and Native Gaming as they handle a really difficult situation.
You always have to show appreciation to the people that turn up when they're needed, right? They hear the call, they see the bat signal in the sky, and they show up. Even, you know, Callus not planning to be able to attend here.
He was not planning on being, he was not here.
Hops on the flight, comes in and filling in that role. So we love that for Native White. An unfortunate circumstance, but they're making the best out of it. And, you know, Trey even on Twitter said, hey, I'm going to be filling in as a player. Who's going to come coach us?
Yeah, I love it. Just accepting, right? You got to play the card you're dealt, right?
Yes.
There are certain things in life that you can and cannot control. And as a competitor, and maybe even just as a human being, recognizing what you can and cannot control and focusing and putting all of that energy in a focused line towards what you can control and letting everything you can't control, Magic, just kind of fall off your back like water. Because why put wasted energy into something that you have no control over? What, like the Canada border, like, what are you gonna call and be like, what the hell? You couldn't let Barcode? Like, that's ridiculous, right? It shouldn't take up any of your brain space. And I like the way Native White, from what I saw from them this morning, as I saw Callus when he pulled up, and they went outside and had a team meeting, and it looked like a team meeting amongst 5-6 players, coaches, GMs, whatever it is that you get together and that had that conversation. It looked like their group. It looked like their core. Like, they looked like a team that was not dealing with any of those surprise issues the night before. So again, nothing but respect for Native White, and in particular Native Gaming, really as an organization dealing with some difficult, unprecedented circumstances here with the loss of Druck and now Barcode for Native White.
Yeah, as you can see on the overlay here, Native Gaming is the owner for both of these teams. Absolutely incredible to have an organization that is so invested in Halo that they've signed not just one, but 2 of the top teams.
Huh.
You know, we're not just talking about they signed 2 teams. They signed 2 of the top, 4 and 5 seed, right? 2 of the top teams.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Native Gaming, and they've had their share of adversity. Native Red through everything, holding on to that number 4 seed. And now Native White, okay, it's your turn, right? They made history at Charlotte with that open bracket run that led them to 4th place finish, which was incredible. And then Native Red kind of following suit at Dallas, that 4th place finish with a substitute. And no matter what Native Gaming is dealt, it seems like they take it in stride. We'll see what happens in this series, though. Native Red with the significant advantage in it. What's your prediction on this matchup, this series?
Magic, as an underdog, historically, Game 2 Slayer has been your opportunity to try to fight back, try to even the series at 1, and that's exactly what Native White is going to have to do.
Yeah.
I suspect if they go down 2-0, that likely continues down the lane at the exact same pace and trajectory. If Native White are able to tie this series up, I don't know. Hold on to your butts, right? Hold on to your tapping buttons, because it gets really interesting. And we talked about settling in that first series with Bittersweet and Native Red, and there's a lot of that going on right now with the likes of, you could say, both of these 2 teams who have a new 4th in Boam, now the sub, now the concrete 4th, and then Native White, the coach, filling in as the 4th, as a sub. So there's a lot of feeling it out going on between both of these 2 teams early on in this tournament.
You know, in the previous series, we were talking about Bittersweet, what they need to do to kind of break the ice, to make a name for themselves, to build some momentum. I'm going to shift that attention to Native White now, right? We know they're dealt a bad hand and they're making the best out of it. We have respect for that. One thing I didn't see from game number 1, Tapping Buttons was actually struggling. That surprises me on a map that's dominated by snipers, because Tapping Buttons can shred with the sniper. We saw a play from Mikwen getting a nice double kill, but I want to see more Tapping Buttons. Let's see the sniper in his hand in this game too.
Yeah, and for Trey, he's got to. It's such a tough task. Like, you can't even ask him to, we need you to be barcode. It's just not realistic. And I actually made a comment at Dallas that
he doesn't have the accent for it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're not going to get any of the same vibes. But I actually said at Dallas for Native Red that Boam needed to fill in and almost play that Druck role. But you know what? He had the similar impact and presence as a Druck, but his playstyle is actually completely different. Druck,
yeah, that's fair.
Druck is an animal on the map. He will take advantage of every mobility ability tech that he has. If he has the grapple hook, he's great at doing that grapple G-slide combination where you literally can get across the map in a nanosecond. Druck, I'd say one of the best players in the league at that. On the flip side, Boam, he's more of a laner, right? He plays further back. He kind of like holds the team together, and I thought that was the opposite of what they needed, but it's that sort of shake-up and shift-up that you get when you've teamed together for 5 years, and it's kind of like, it gets a little monotonous, right? Like, kind of like, almost like a snooze, a little boring, right? But I don't know, this addition of Boam, while it wasn't something that Native Red asked for or intended to make, I think, again, they've done the best with the cards they were dealt, and taking on Boam and not completely changing up this Native Red roster who's been together for almost half a decade, but complementing that Native Red roster. Yeah. That's what we're going to look for from Trey, and who better to kind of know how to fill in and complement the team than the coach. Yeah. So I know it's a coach subbing in, but again, we cannot count these guys out. These guys are going to come with it. And here we go, going into Game 2 Slayer. This is Native White's chance to tie it up.
And already we saw Boam there with the top tower control, but it is Taulek sneaking away that also important sniper. We talked about Taulek. He needs to be in the talking when you're talking about top slayers in the league. Top 10 certainly, maybe even pushing for the top 5. Let's see what he can do with the sniper in hand. Already picks off 1 clean kill, body shot into the BR finish.
Look at the process being played here from Native Red. Sniper in their hand early. Overshield already set up with that shroud screen, and they've doubled up on the lead, 4-2. Plasma pistol counter goes out, but does not hit the suit of SoulSnipe. Because of that, he's going to continue with a little bit of extra OS, and because of that, the push is on. He's going to play a little aggressive here with that last bit of overshield.
He's got to be careful. That spike grenade melted his shield, half of his health, and the team fire came in. So overshield or not, it wasn't enough to keep him alive. On board now with Trey, filling in the coach from Native White, now playing, and he's holding his own. He wins a 1v1. He's in another 1v1, but it's Taulek on the other side, and that's a tall task, a Taulek task, if you will.
And you can see Taulek gets called out and gets pushed. The timing, though, on the recharge of that shield gets him back to full, gets the kill as well, and now he's in another duel with the likes of Trey and the rest of Native White, but the bait switches on. Trey takes down SoulSnipe, and Taulek then takes down Trey. Just as it looked like the push was on from Native Red, they looked like they have a great push. They don't know where Taulek is. Taulek in the corner, a distraction for Manny all the while. He earns the double kill and a 4-kill lead for Native Red.
Oh, that's a mistake, Native White. You gotta deal with Taulek there at the entrance to Rat Tunnel. He just survived. He stays alive long enough to set up that double kill that Manny cleans up. Right now it's a 4-point lead. Manny has sight set on the next round of Overshield, using that Shroud Screen, give himself all the cushion he needs. In fact, he has backup. He has one teammate here, 2 on the back of A, and he's going to go full send with this OS.
Yeah, Manny playing equally as aggressive as we saw with from SoulSnipe earlier with that Overshield, sending tapping buttons, scurrying to bottom mid with no hope other than to recharge, reshield, and reset your positioning. Native White looking good here, but only up 4. It feels like they might be up 6-7, but they're only up 4, so Native White doing a great job keeping it within that 1 possession game.
It's a lot of trade-out fights, right? Like, we'll see Native Red maybe taking 2 kills and giving up 1, so they're like inching up the scoreboard, but Native White are forcing a lot of trade-outs. A beautiful plasma grenade from tapping buttons.
And look at the timing of this. Is this going to give them that sniper control tower, snipe tower control, and potentially sniper as well? It could. Mikwen setting up for just that, as this game is now just a 2-kill difference. Now 3, Native Red holding on to a narrow lead.
Okay, tapping buttons traded out there. I wanted him to stay alive because I want that sniper in his hands, but it might have been enough for Kuhlect to get that fresh sniper. Mikwen has that top tower control, but it's the spike grenade from Boam. Takes Kuhlect down, and Mikwen has to decide, desperate for the sniper or hold tower control. He chooses map position.
And that's what I was talking about earlier, where it's like kills are cool, right? But kills don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, where, okay, you get the kill, you get the snipe tower control, but you got to get the sniper too, right? Native White not able to kind of compound that benefit, that advantage they had with 3 down, 4 then for Native Red. Instead, Native Red builds on the lead, flips it on its head, and Native White at the midway part of this game going to have to switch up the strategy.
Yeah, Kuhlect being taken down there was such a crucial kill from Native Red, and you can see the effect of it still spiraling as SoulSnipe is putting down the damage, getting the slays, and a 6-point lead here for Native Red as they cross that halfway mark. SoulSnipe has 1 shot left as he hits the body shot, but doubles right back. Doesn't want to over-contest.
Overshield up now. This is going to be crucial. Again, those kills leading to a potential Overshield control, but it's going to be Overshield for free for Native Red. Man. And because of it, you're going to see SoulSnipe with a little delayed Overshield pop, not by much, just a second or so, but popping that Overshield as he climbs to the top of the screen. It's going to allow him to take on Native White, but he can't take on all 3 players for Native White. That's one way to handle the Overshield. You put 3 on 1, and even an Overshield can't win that.
Hey, if you're not winning 1v1s, don't take any more 1v1s, especially when you know the Overshield's on the other side. Native White were 3 strong, rounding the corner with like a V formation, looking ready for that attack, and that was a well-planned out strategy. It was enough to melt the OS, but the lead keeps going to the one side of Native Red. It's not enough for Native White to negate the OS. They have yet to win in OS.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily say Native Red they're hedging their bets, but more so hedging their control of this map and the utilities on it. Here we see Manny with the well-timed double kill, with the use of that heat wave. It's now depleted, but for Native Red, not able to make the most of that Overshield, but they have the heat wave instead. So if you're going to fall on one side of the map, you got to pick up on the other, and that's what we just saw from Native Red, why they've not only been able to maintain this lead, but they've built on it, now up 10.
And it's nearly tied assist to assist on either side. I think Native Red have a +1 or a +2 in that column. But the 10 slays, a lot of it is, I don't know, straight up winning your 1v1s, winning those fights. You see that Native White are trying to make this adjustment to not take those 1v1s, but Native Red are giving them the space to breathe.
Yeah, you have to wonder if Native Red, feeling like they're outmatching, outclassing this Native White roster, if they can kind of take those gunfights, but that's bait for later on down the tournament. You do not want to take those same gunfights you would against the likes of a top 3 team, right? We talk about the levels to this, still early on in pool play. Now this is a 1 versus 2 matchup, but a little different, like we said in the beginning, because of the circumstances.
Yep.
So Native Red continuing to build on that momentum, but they're going to have to continue to improve because the competition is only going to get stiffer as they continue on in pool play, and especially in that champ bracket.
You know, if you're a fan of Native Red, you love to see Boam once again leading the slay count on the side of Native Red. filling in with this roster, maybe even elevating this roster. Great plays here from Boam, and you gotta watch out. SoulSnipe somehow finds his namesake back in his hands. He had the last sniper, stole it off the dead body of Kuhlect. He has a fresh sniper to work with and some overshield.
I'm going to make the argument that it's actually impressive that Native White is only down 12, all things considered. We've seen OS control all in Native Red's favor, sniper control all in Native Red's favor. The one time Native White had a setup to get sniped, they did not. And then even things like the heat wave, Native Red as well. That is why they're up 12 plus, but you could argue it should be even more.
Yeah, I agree. So Native White, again, they're trading out kills. In fact, Trey doesn't trade out kills. He finds a double kill of his own. Gotta shout out the coach, finding a couple of slays. And SoulSnipe, with that lead, that 12-point lead, can be comfortable. Waiting for someone to walk into his scope, takes the shot.
Yeah, you mentioned walking into the scope. That's exactly what SoulSnipe is setting up for, lining up that reticle where a player might be, but it's the shifty, that's not like a Carmea strafe there from Kuhlect. It must be something about the young guns. Yeah, I just did like a dance myself here at
a little gyrating of the cast
Optic Arena, because I was motivated by the dance moves from Kuhlect, kept them alive there, but will it be enough to come back in this game? Doesn't look like it. Native Red only need one more.
Yeah, barring a miracle, they need 12 straight kills. We saw an epic comeback earlier on from Sentinels when it was a 44-49. Talking to Boo Boo Doo Boo before this series, was a lot of fun to get some insights from him, but not going to be enough here for Native White. They have a mountain in front of them to climb.
Yeah, this is a tough situation for Native White. Backs are against the wall, and let's be honest, the backs were against the wall yesterday when they found out Barcode couldn't come to this event. So Native White going through it, Native Red trying to climb the ladder. They should be looking at that #1 seed in Pool D, which means you're going to take on the #2 team in Pool C, I believe. A potential SSG, G1 maybe, Na'Vi potentially. So Native Red got off to a hot start in winners round 1 of DreamHack Dallas, taking down Quadrant. And if they can follow that path again here, I don't see why Native Red can't be that team to steal the top 3 spot from an Optic, SSG, or FaZe.
Yeah, Pool C, it's Optic as the #1 seed, Rebellion as the #2, 6 Karma, and then still waiting to see who those open bracket teams are going to be.
So you're looking at playing a Rebellion, and that's a tough matchup for Native Red, actually. If Seeds follow through with Optic taking first and Rebellion taking second. So looking ahead a little bit as we look at some of these highlights. SoulSnipe with a nice headshot there. All centering, all prediction, all game sense, all communication, all on point for Native Red as they look to 3-0 sweep Native White. Kind of what we were talking about in the pre-show, right? Like, you know, only I can beat up my little brother, right? That's kind of what we're seeing here from Native Red, kind of picking on the little bro a little bit.
They'll cheer for Native White in any other scenario, but now it's a sibling rivalry.
Yep.
One thing I wanted to point out from this series, because we did just cast Native Red, right? We casted them against Bittersweet. The end of that game, too, was a 50-39, or maybe a 50-40, but nearly an identical outcome. I want to see the Bittersweet Native White roster, because one thing I'm concerned about, we don't know who the open bracket teams are going to be.
That's really interesting, yeah.
But hey, Bittersweet Native White, they're about to go to war just to stay in the championship bracket.
So, and this is Pool D, so you are looking to kind of give context to this from the open bracket.
Yes.
As an open bracket team,
yes,
you are looking to make it out through winners with that 1 seed. Because if you're an open bracket team that gets into Pool D, watch out, because even Native Red wouldn't be safe from the likes of an Incognito. And again, we were just talking about how Native Red has a path to top 3, 4, maybe even anybody in the top 12. You could argue could win this whole thing, but watch out for the likes of the open bracket teams filling in those 4 seeds. It's usually a foregone conclusion that they'll stick at 4, but I don't think that's the case. I could see where only 1 4 seed from the open bracket finishes 4th in pools.
Oh man, there's gonna be a lot of upsets. Now let me just pan back on that point just for a minute. So in Pool C and D, the 2 open bracket teams are gonna be the ones from the winners bracket that get into Pool C and D. The 2 open bracket teams from the lower bracket will fill in for A and B. So, I mean, you're pretty much guaranteed that one of the top 2 best open bracket teams are going to be in this pool.
And it's just the way the HCS lays out right now. Pool D is where you want to be, whether you're a team already in pools before the tournament starts or coming out of open bracket, because you avoid that 3-headed monster in Optic, SSG, and FaZe. So Pool D is ripe for the taking. Even the likes of Native Red, I don't think have a slam dunk sure thing. I actually believe Native Red in this Pool D is going to face their stiffest competition from the open bracket team they play tomorrow morning. Which, by the way, Magic, we will have extended bonus coverage up. That was so... that was tough. That was tough at Charlotte, missing those qualification matches and the open bracket pool play matches. We are not going to miss a second of that later today. I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself. I'm almost more excited.
I am so excited. I am more excited.
Yes, I'm going to say it.
Because it's not okay. These pool play matches are great. I'm glad we have this.
Right.
But open bracket teams have been overlooked for so long.
Yeah.
This is our chance. I'm freaking gonna cast it like it's the grand finals. Like, you just watch. I'm not gonna have a voice tomorrow.
Me too. I am okay with saying I am looking more forward to those open bracket qualifying matches, and not only those are always some of the most exciting matches of the tournament. If you ever get a chance to go to the Passion Pit, that's where you want to be. Everyone is going to be in the Passion Pit because we're going to be broadcasting this and sharing it with the world. I am so excited because it hasn't been since the likes of the MLG era, where the open bracket kind of had that shine and that respect, and I'd say it still does in this timeline, in this community, but they just haven't gotten the same time on stream, and that matters. That matters so much. And to LVT Halo, that matters the most, because that's what we're always trying to do, is put on for the grassroots, put on for the community, and no teams represent that more than those in the open bracket, the Passion Pit.
You know, this morning when we got a little bit of a tour of the facilities before everything was kicking off, you have the main stage, and then right around the corner, blocked by one wall that blocks all of the sound, right behind it is all the Passion Pit. Dozens of stations, hundreds of players ready to compete. I round that corner, I'm like, this is Halo.
Yeah.
These are my people.
We took off.
You know how much I care about open bracket. And I'm absolutely thrilled that I'm not walking around with my cell phone doing a broadcast, but they get the spotlight they deserve.
Observers,
here
baby.
on LVT Halo.
Nighty Night is going to be observing some of the best Halo will win.
He's over there salivating.
Oh, you should have seen Nighty Night at dinner last night when we got the word that it was going down. That dude looked like he was not going to sleep because he was so excited, and I'm sure he didn't. So
I felt like a kid on Christmas Eve. Like, man, I woke up before my alarm. I didn't get enough sleep. I was too excited to be here.
Yeah, and I know right after that first matchup for us, what did we do? We put down the headset, and I was like, Magic, you want to go check out the open bracket? And you're like, that's what I was going to ask you. We hightailed it out of here to go check out the Passion Pit, because that really is the core, the heart of Halo. And my goodness, there has never been a bigger mix of up-and-coming players ready to steal the spotlight, and veterans who now find themselves fighting through the likes of open bracket, Suspector, Sab, Ace. So many veterans that are used to winning tournaments and or even placing in the top 4, 5, 6 are in the open bracket this weekend. It's heating up. It's going to be an incredible evening on LVT Halo. I cannot wait. But for now, we've got Game 3, Native White versus Native Red. Native White looking to get back in this series. Native Red has looked like the better team. It was to be expected with them having their fourth this event, which is kind of crazy because it still feels like a fill-in in that it was only 3 weeks ago that DreamHack Dallas we saw that emergency post from Native Red about Boam filling in. So looking to see how settled in he is after a few weeks of scrims, VOD review, and practice sessions, and Native Red is looking the case. We saw a few designed play calls for Native Red in this tournament already. That wasn't the case at DreamHack Dallas. They were kind of winging it a little bit.
Yeah, everybody likes Native Red because of that teamwork, how they help each other out, but I wouldn't say they're the team that plays their processes the best, right? That's not really the feel you get from them, but maybe they're turning a new leaf. If they add that to their arsenal of capability, that is what it's going to take for Native Red to break that top 3. They've been kind of gate-kept out of the top 3 this whole season, locking down that 4th spot. And if they are going to break through, they need to find something to add to their game, and maybe it is that planned play call, playing through the processes and making it happen. We said this before, it's one thing to do it here in pool play. Tomorrow and then carrying on, hopefully the Sunday, is going to be the real test.
Yeah, you gotta lay it all out there on the line, but you can't leave it all in the field on Friday, right? I'm trying to
explain that.
You gotta give it your all, but you gotta almost have like a governor on your brain, on your energy levels, to understand that this is a 3-day marathon sprint, right? You cannot, if you just sprint the whole time, you will not get to the finish line. If you have periods of sprinting and then periods of kind of pacing yourself, get a little water break, rehydrate, just jogging in line, kind of maintaining your pace, and then when the time calls for it, you pick up the pace again. That's exactly what Native Red is, I think, kind of conceptualizing this tournament run as is a marathon.
You know what? When I was growing up, my dad is a basketball coach, and he invented this conditioning drill that describes what you're saying perfectly. He called it the sprint and coast. He'd blow the whistle, they sprint, he'd blow the whistle again, they get a coast. They blow the whistle, they sprint. And that's what the players need. You need constant motion, but you need to know when to elevate.
At its core, Halo Infinite's philosophy is to sprint and then, what'd you call it?
Coast. I said coast. Maybe that's, you know,
No, that's, I like that. I think that's great because honestly, the best teams in Halo Infinite are the ones that know when to sprint and when to coast.
We'll see which of the teams can bring it here. Native Red are hoping to lock down the series, but Native White will not go down without a fight. It's King of the Hill taking it with a skirt over to the street. Do it again. It's good.
We're going to need that. We're going to need the RPMs shifting into the 6-7 side of the speedometer as Mikwen looks to push down on the gas and take down Boamx. Starts off with that opening break kill, pushes up to the shotgun side, helping out tapping buttons all the while. Native Red, despite being down in numbers, is up in hill time. Again, playing your process. Kills don't matter in Halo Infinite unless you're playing the process right, which Native Red is right now.
Oh, Boam with a double kill, though. You only need one person on the hill to gain time, and maybe Native Red only had one player alive, but as long as he was getting that hill time, that's all that they needed. They're at about 2/3 of this hill captured. Native White have one more push, but I'm wondering with their positioning, are they already locking down and prepping for hill number 2?
Yeah,
it's going to go over to that A side. Manny's not letting them rest. He's storming the castle. He's breaking into their base, stealing kills.
Native White go all 4 down, so this, like you said earlier, potentially setting up at C, but fortunately they spawn there. So 343 says, hey, here's the strategy. You guys need a little help. We'll get you guys that C spawn. So you got the early rotation on this next hill. So despite kind of not playing the process correctly or the timing just right, Native White still gets the early rotation, but it's not going to be enough as 3 go down. Mikwen, last player alive, looking to keep that last dying hope and breath alive on the tram side. All the while, SoulSnipe and the rest of Native Red are taking the map control from you, so scenes.
Mikwen finds a kill. He steals the last rocket and Bulldog. He might not have a lot of ammunition to work with, but he's got the explosive type. So even with that damage there, he doesn't have a weapon that can clean up a kill from that distance. Great heads-up play to rotate for the Stalker as the assist comes through. They have right now, hill number 2 is locked down nearly at that halfway point. A great round of defense.
Yeah, and you might argue in chat that Mikwen wasted that crucial rocket usage, but I would say no. Knowing that the Stalker was up at C,
there's a player to his left.
Wanted the combination, but he doesn't check his corner. Does get the kill on Manny, and that's actually a great trade because 4 go down for Native Red. Native White are going to tie this game.
Incredible. I was stressed. I saw the player sneaking down P Street, going to the bottom of A stairs, and I thought, oh, that's it. Your run is done. Mikwen turning that into a trade was all that Native White needed to tie up this game.
Huge. And in a turf battle between the same organization, we have our most highly contested moment of the series.
Oh,
Trey! The substitute codes hits the ninja montage play and starts to instill a little bit of belief into this Native White roster, tied in this match and tied on this particular hill.
Hey, when you're filling in, this is your time to make some style plays like that. He was just going for the clean kill. The game counts as a ninja, and he's not done. Trey finds another. Manny with a double kill evens out the numbers from side to side, and another crucial trade that could get Native White right back at this hill.
Tapping buttons in a 1v1. 3 players down for each squad. It's a little edge in that spawn timing, though. Native Red comes up a little bit sooner, so they're going to have a little bit more pressure on tapping buttons. That's why he's had to dip back, but he does a great job playing his life. Boam takes down Kuhlect, and then Boam takes down tapping buttons. Boam with the hero play, just as it looked like Native White was going to bounce back. Boam with the triple, looking for more.
I cannot believe Boam was not traded out there on Flanders.
Wow.
He got the kill, stayed alive with 1 HP and a dream, finds the triple kill instead. Hill number 3 is the most contested. Hill 1, pretty decisive Native Red. Hill number 2, Native White, and now we got a brawl on our hands.
Taulek looking to take that map control and the Stalker to boot. Tapping buttons is going to disengage from that, knowing he does not have the facilities to take on that gunfight. Taulek, with just his presence alone and the control of that Stalker, helps take down Trey and tapping buttons just through giving them something else to think about.
Yeah, and it was Manny who came out with the next set of rockets. Watch out. One thing we're seeing, even though this might be the most contested of the games in the series, is Native Red are still winning the majority of power-ups. Live fire, they were dominating with the sniper control, the overshield control, and now it's rockets, maybe even Stalker, Bulldog. Haven't seen the Sentinel beam, though, yet in action, but Native Red are still controlling those power-ups.
Yeah, interesting not to see the Sentinel Beam after how strong Native Red and the likes of SoulSnipe looked with it in that first series. But on a map like Streets, you got plenty of options and you got plenty of hope when you got the likes of Kuhlect on your team looking to spur this comeback and a triple kill. Has the Bandit rifle to work with, but it's again, Taulek with that Stalker rotating from C all the way to A to maintain that power control, but he goes down. This is an opening break opportunity here for Native White.
But Native White are making the decision to not hop on the hill. They have a perimeter set up, but they're trying to win another round of slays, and they're not getting it. Instead, it's Native Red who wasted no time off the respawn. A little bit delayed, but it was a 4-down squad wipe. Native Red off of that respawn, quick to execute revenge.
And tapping buttons off spawn is pushing up a little early here. You need that timing on the cafe side as it looks like Kuhlect has it. So this is actually going to work out. Taulek is going to have a lot of pressure. The pinch is on, but SoulSnipe and Boam handle it so well.
Oh my gosh!
Push from Native White, taking the parallel push, right? The line, the wave of momentum was coming all across the map from the arcade side to cafe, and Native Red shut it down.
Look at the Rockets, Mikowski. Boam finds him back in hand. I'm telling you, Native White, there needs to be some level of power-up control. I'm not saying you expend every resource for Rockets, but you cannot lose 100% of the power weapons.
You can't get skunked. And again, with a little bit more power control, this is arguably a 2-2 game. That has been the difference for a Native White roster that's coming in with everything going against them. They've actually played incredibly well, all things considered. Now we see a little bit of, we'll call it, quote-unquote, power weapon control in the hands of Mikwen. This is their opportunity. 2 minutes left, down 2. They're still in it.
And Mikwen's having a good game. He's 13-11. He's got 6 assists, but it just overall hasn't been enough. Hasn't been putting down enough work. Finds another kill, already spotting a target at the back of A, but it's going to be a 1 versus 2. Boam actually backs off, waiting for Taulek to be able to push with him. That's a smart heads-up play.
And Boam recognized that Mikwen had the Stalker, and he said, again, just like Taulek before, and the inverse, I don't have the range. This is not my gunfight to take. Waited for his teammate support, turned that power weapon advantage into a 2v1. Because of it, the Stalker flips back into the hands of Native Red. Taulek, the likes of Native Red, looking to put the finishing touches on this match, on this series, as they do just that, taking down Native White 3-0. Native Red undefeated so far in pools.
Whatever reps Native Red have put in between Dallas and Arlington, Boam is looking like the star player on this roster.
Yeah.
He has been consistently a or the top slayer and making smart plays too. It's not always about the kills, right? But you got to factor that in. Making that smart play to not take the 1v1 against a Stalker, wait for the backup to come in, and just looks very decisive in all of his decisions.
Absolutely. And think about this. Going into DreamHack Dallas, the rallying cry for Boam from his teammates and the coach is probably on opening strats, right? And just in general play style and how you... Oh, that ninja was awesome. But for Boam, the message was probably just do what Druck does, right? Let's not oversit. Let's keep it simple. You just joined the team 24 hours ago. Let's just have you do what Druck does. But that doesn't necessarily fit because Druck and Boam are completely different players. So
there it is. There's the triple.
Now that you've had a month or let's call it 3 weeks to settle in and kind of find how Boam fits in to this Native Red roster, that equation, that math problem has been figured out. Native Red has aced the test of fitting in that 4th Boam, and Boam out of nowhere looks like a top 4 player, and he never really had that respect or regard up until now, and he's earned it.